Let's go ahead and call a meeting to order. It's 6:30. We'll go ahead and get going. Paula, if you can go ahead and take care of a roll call for us, please.
District 1, Joseph Moore.
Present.
District 2, Sam
Here.
Cortez.
Here.
District 3, David Emery.
I'm here.
District 4, Michael Rodriguez.
Here.
District 5, Charles Gate.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you doing that. Okay, let's go ahead and if you can please rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. Next thing on the agenda, we have citizens to be heard. We do not have anybody. I still want to ask, see if anybody, any citizens to be heard during this section? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move on. Council, let's go ahead and move on to item number 5. Consent agenda, consider the approval of minutes, and this is the first one, is the 10th of April of 2023.
Mayor, I have a question about the consent agenda approval of minutes. Item 1, seconded by me with a question mark after my name. Was that a typo, or were you not sure I seconded?
Well, I was waiting for my first time probably.
Okay. I didn't know if you just didn't know who seconded it.
No,
Okay, sure. And I had another question on this, find it. On item F, discuss and consider possible action, former city secretary. And then I made a motion, seconded by Mr. Rodriguez. And then the second part of that, Alderman Rodriguez made an amendment to the motion, seconded to update the handbook. I don't remember what that was about.
so when Ms. Campa asked for her preparations,
Hey, right.
you guys talked about the handbook, Charles and Mr. Rodriguez asked about doing an update on the handbook about maybe putting a restriction or something that they can bring their own stuff to use as decorations for the city, if it's your personal stuff.
Okay.
I think we had a little bit of that and maybe a little bit of
There
maybe
was two
something where
parts to
people
it.
had a time
Yes.
period. Is that right?
Yes.
There's a time period for them to collect their
There's
stuff.
to be like an update on the handbook.
Okay. Have we done that? Are we doing it?
No, we'll have to work with legal on that.
Okay.
I think there's another one coming with the social media policy too, so it'd be a good time to update it all.
Okay, good.
I know it's directed towards retirement,
Yes.
someone retiring, not being let go, or
All
retirement.
right, okay. Mayor, I move we accept the minutes with the annotation correction made for this meeting of April 10th.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to set the minutes with the annotations for the 10th of April. We got a second? Any further discussion on that one? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much, appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to item 2, April 24th, 2023 minutes.
Merely make a start by making a motion to accept the meeting minutes for April the 24th, 2023 as presented.
Got a motion on the floor to accept them as presented?
Second.
Okay, got a second? Further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries forward. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to B, consider the approval of payment of the bills, and you should have a handout that Lynette presented to us.
And then is there anything unusual in here that we should pay particular attention to?
No, sir, these are all just our regular bills. We'll have a lot more come in, but this is only about a fourth of them.
Mayor, I move that we pay the bills on the accounts payable dated 5/8/2023.
Got a motion on the floor?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion or questions on the bills? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Doing good, doing good. Let's go ahead and move on to number 6, open session. Take action on items discussed. The first one is going to be 8. Consider and act upon the request from Christopher Bowen for the city's Keep Vital Beautiful Commission to authorize travel and registration expenses in the amount of $1,200 to attend the Keep Texas Beautiful Conference on June the 26th through 28th, 2023. The Galleria Western Hotel in Houston, Texas.
Council, I'll just start real quick on the financial side. I gave you the breakdown on what that financially, it's about $1,200. Conference is $450, hotel's gonna be $365 and some change possibly. The meals, talking to Mr. Bowen, would be $100, and then his mileage breakdown is right there. It'd be $282.96 back to him.
Christopher, come on up.
Thank y'all for allowing me to come before your council and Mayor Gonzalez as well. Last year, it was my first time going to the Keep Texas Beautiful Conference. Last year, though, it was held in Austin, so a little less in the travel just because of the distance. But I enjoyed it a lot, but I learned a lot. Took a lot of notes. I'm still, we're still going over some of that, and we're going to continue to go over that, bringing that back to the Keep Vital Beautiful Committee. We are having more meetings in the organization. I know we already have one scheduled for June, and we just had to clean up this past Saturday, and they all went well. So I know Keep Vital Beautiful is doing well. Everything's going smoothly. I'm very appreciative of being a part of it, and just kind of keep going on the right path. Now, going into last year, because of all the time we do with COVID and the pandemic, we weren't able to have the events and things. So the organization kind of struggled to have some of the events because we couldn't really have the gatherings and the meetings. It was affected. So we kind of fell into a couple of years ago. We were not in the best standing with the organization. They have it where you can be in good, bad, and then of course they have the upper classes from there to Silver Star or Gold Star. Well, the goal was to get to being in good standing with them, and by going to the conference last year, they require each affiliate to have 6 hours of educational training a year. But if you go to the conference, you get over 12, and that actually allows you then to go to the next level. And because we had the 2 cleanup events last year, we were able to actually not just gain good standing, but I also have this certificate that I presented and showed you to the council as well. I mean, Mayor Gonzalez said this is the Keep Texas Beautiful gave to the city of Lyle and the Keep Auto Beautiful organization,
Awesome.
a Silver Star affiliate. So it's exciting and it's good, and we're back on the good list in many ways. And this is going to be this is where I would say it's, even if it was just for getting the educational requirements, it would be semi worth it just for that. But you get to network with people, you get to learn a lot. I know last year when I got home, I called Mayor Gonzalez and he had said that he had someone there, and they mentioned Lytle in this big conference room. They have the cities from all over Texas there, including large cities, over 100,000 people in the cities. So Lytle's small, and when I met with a few people last year, they said like, well, where is Lytle? But the more you go, the more you meet with people, they find out where Lytle is and what we're all about. And we're all about keeping Lytle beautiful and making it a better place to live. And I look forward to, if you would grant this request, to go to the conference to continue those relationships, maybe further them, develop them more, and certainly we'll keep in good standing, and not just keep in good, but also even go to the next level, to Gold Star, which it takes a few more requirements, but I'm willing to push for that and continue moving on. I have other ideas along with the other members. I noticed Alderman Emery there as our affiliate, as our liaison with the beautification committee, and we have other ideas we want to plan for this year and the fall, of course, and other times. So it's really just it's something that's really, I think it's a good idea for the city. There's other grant opportunities out there from HEB, other companies around the state that offer a lot of incentives and like I said, grant options if we are willing to pursue them, which I think as we get into this more into it and as I get more information from the conference, there are options that we can pursue as well. So I'm looking to do all of those by going to the conference, and I'm happy to go as a representative of not just Keep Lago Beautiful, but as a city of Lago as well. Now, if there's any questions or anything about the conference, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Mayor, I move that we authorize the travel and registration expenses in the amount of $1,200 to attend the Keep Texas Beautiful Conference on June 26th through June 28th, 2023 at the Galleria West End Hotel in Houston, Texas.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, thank you, Travis.
Second.
Okay, got a second? All right, any further discussion?
I would just like to say, I appreciate Chris's excitement and motivation to do this. It's several days out of his busy life. I know he puts a lot into the committee. Just a little heads up that I'll interject right here. We're gonna have to do a little work on the committee. We had one person just dropped off, so we didn't have a quorum last time, so we couldn't officially do anything in the meeting. And so we're gonna have to have the committee come back with an agenda item to ask for more members for the Keep Lago Beautiful. That's just a heads up.
After that, yeah, it turned out really good. I got some comments a little bit later, but thank you. Appreciate all your efforts of being able to do that.
Christopher, I got a couple of questions for you, 2 questions. Talk about grant options. Are there any deadlines that are coming up that we need to get grants submitted for?
There's probably a couple, what I can do is I'll look into it and I'm not sure off the top of my head right now, like what grants, there's a few different ones. What I can do is I can definitely research it and get back with you, either an email, call you, whatever I need to do as well. But really, because if you're not in good standing in their organization, you can't pursue grants, but we are now, of course, and so we can. And I know there's this big awards called the Government Achievement Awards they have every year where it's really Texas Department of Transportation distributes millions of dollars to cities who have applied and they are allowed to, they've given this money, most of it's for landscaping projects in the city, and I know we already have like the Gateway, the city has Lago on it, things like those projects like that, and they're beautiful ones, that's a grant opportunity, but I'm not aware of any right now, but I'll look into it and I'll get you back with you.
And the second question I have for you, talked about ideas that y'all are kicking around to, improve the city. What's with top 2 ideas that we can help out as a council to help your committee, help our city out?
Yes, sir. I think I know, I bounce off some, I know we have other members on the committee, Denise and others who have done the same. We can start small and grow, but we know Main Street's always been a priority, and I know because the city already owns Italy Square and Italy House area there, I think that'd be a great area to kind of focus on. I know we already have some landscaping there that we have a sign that has Keep Lago Beautiful affiliate, or Keep Texas Beautiful affiliate. I think there's maybe we can do some landscaping options there. We discussed it on the committee about maybe adding some trash cans, things around Main Street, downtown, kind of a more, as we do have more pedestrian traffic going to the restaurants and things like that. It's good to have more where people are not so quick to maybe just throw trash away because there's not a trash can. But that's something we would have to maybe we can work with in collaboration with the chamber and talk to them about some of the businesses opportunities. But another one, just a small one, I know you have brought this up as well in the past, was about, I know because the Keep Texas Beautiful is also largely involved in like Arbor Day and tree plantings, and I mentioned that we may do that this coming Arbor Day in November, where we can have maybe talk to a couple of businesses, even HEB, see if they're donating some tree and we can plant that. But that is something else that I can pursue as well is something with I know because you had brought up before, I know we've been pursuing that, and they do look at all these things, like it can be a Tree City USA, or they have Bee City USA, where you take care of bees and pollinating and all this, and so there's a lot of neat things that a lot of us don't even know that are out there. But I would say we're trying to focus on Main Street, and then maybe just doing some small steps like some things with landscaping and tree planting. But I know as I talk to Oliver Henry and others on the list, if we have something come up where like we say, well, we'd like to get even talk about getting some T-shirts for like when we had the cleanup, people come join us and go out and we can have some T-shirts with the logo on it, Keep Lago Beautiful, and get those out to those participants. something like that, we know that takes a little bit of money, but if when the committee decides, oh, that this be something we want to do, I can come up against for council or one of the other committees, and we'll bring that. But right now, we're just kind of in the beginning stages of the ideas, but I would say Main Street and possibly some of those ideas with some, trash can beautification, but as well as, just the Arbor Day event, and always working with the council and the committee, but those are some of there's kind of, some of them are smaller, but we're gonna grow into bigger, better ideas. Yeah, so hopefully that answered your question.
No, it did. That's a lot of information. I think that, what y'all are doing is important because, of course, have members of the community engaged and, bringing some outside perspectives on what we can do. And like I said, hey, whatever we can do as a council to help you, don't be afraid to come back every month if you want to, because we love seeing you here.
I appreciate it, all the support. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Don't go too far, don't go too far. We're gonna go ahead, council, if it's okay, we'll move the podium out of the way. If you guys can kind of either, you wanna join me down there or up here? What would you prefer, so we can take a photo with Chris? What would you prefer? Join me down there?
You gotta put them up on his shoulders.
Here we go. This is good. We'll get up here. We'll take a photo with Chris. Okay, so now we've taken it up a notch, right, with this?
Really, 2 notches.
2 notches, okay, so now we're gonna shoot for the gold for the next one, right?
Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome. Okay, let's do this. Hold the certificate right there. Okay.
I can't see
Can we
Mr. Emery.
see, make sure we can see everybody. Can we see everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking care of our community.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
to do it. Yes, sir.
Awesome,
Thank
awesome.
you for all your support.
Awesome, awesome. Cool beans. Thanks, Chris. Okay, we'll expect a light report, okay? See how it turned out, what are some of the new things, and maybe address some of the stuff that Charles brought up. That'll be good. Okay, have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, council. Appreciate that. Let me pass this over. Put on the frame, we can put it up here. Put it
That's
up on the
right.
wall. That's a good one. That's a good one right here. All right. Okay, council, let's go ahead and move on to B, consider and act upon the council's appointment of members of the Ethics Commission and to affirm the council's approval of ordinance 2206.
So council on, August 22nd of 22, the ordinance was adopted. We've actually amended it to where it was only a 5-person commission. So we're here today to maybe get some names for who wants to serve on that commission, who your nominees would be, and then also to affirm the actual adoption of that ordinance that day.
Okay. One point of information, Mayor, I request that we watch the video of the August 22nd, 2022 regular city council meeting and the motion made as it pertains to this item.
I mean, council, it's up to you if you want to watch it. I mean, I think those that we were asked to watch it, we already took a look at it.
That's correct, Alderman Kate. Your question, I think, was at one point related to Matthew regarding whether or not the ordinance had been approved. So we reviewed the video and the motion itself. I agree it was a little bit in the vague, a little gray. There was a motion discussion about the particular ordinance. There was a motion to adopt, and so it was approved, and we've been operating as though it had been approved. So for that reason, the item on the agenda today does 2 things. One, to allow the council to put them on notice that to go ahead and begin preparing names for future appointment to the Ethics Commission. And second, is just to go ahead and confirm that the ordinance was in fact approved. So that would then address any concerns that Alderman Kate or anybody else in the council may have regarding whether or not the ordinance was properly approved at the hearing.
No, I appeal the chair's decision against watching this video of the August 22nd, 2022 meeting and call for a vote by show of hands by those present tonight to watch the video.
May I interject something before we go further? Another point of information there. I made the motion, and I watched the video from August 22nd maybe 10 times. It was certainly my intent to make a motion to approve the ordinance, with the only change being instead of 7 members to match with the number of aldermen here, because I know we used a sample to draw up that ordinance, and they have 7. And then, so it was to approve the ordinance, to go to 5 instead of 7, and then to go out and appoint, nominate, whatever. So that was fully my intention when I did it, if the word can come out right. But that's what I meant to do, and I believe that's what,
Right, I had second that, and we also discussed whether the mayor would have an input or be able to appoint someone, and then we decided not to. So we ended up with the 5 instead of the 6,
Mhm.
coming from the 7. So it was my belief that we had made that motion.
Okay, so the request has been done. I'm just gonna ask, I said, any of you would like to go ahead and watch the video?
I didn't,
I wasn't here, so
I wasn't here anymore.
it doesn't hurt to see what he's talking.
But you were here present for the meeting.
Yes, but I
Well, the question I'm asking right now is, who would like to see the video?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so let's go ahead and play the video. The motion is made at 51:37.
Okay.
If you want to watch the whole agenda item, I believe it begins at 44:44.
Yeah, I'm trying.
It's good right there.
I can stop playing.
Kitty's calling you around.
Oh.
ATM, I don't know why it's not.
I'm always hate these because I'm always gonna catch me saying something.
Okay, fine.
Watch plenty of videos.
It doesn't really be a. Yeah, you agree, Sam? Okay, play again.
Play, and every time you plug it in, it doesn't play.
Hey, Mike, can you get some speakers on the watch front play on? There you go, turn that all the way up, right there.
This one, to here or here?
That one right there. Now turn the volume all the way. We're gonna start taking these leaps and doing things we've never done before. We've been small enough to kind of tell it ourselves, but.
Jesse, anything you want to add on this?
Mayor Council, many of our cities have ethics codes established. Everything that the sort of ordinance that's in the packet goes into, it really relates to a lot of financial disclosures and reporting. So it would also, for example, any potential candidate for city office would have financial disclosure. Council members, once elected, would have an annual disclosure. And then those are intended to avoid conflicts of interest, so that if there's any particular financial interest in a project going forward, it's already been disclosed way ahead of time. And so the staff can identify that, work with the council to, have a disclosure and then recusal of that person from that. That would apply not only to the council, but also your planning and zoning commission and other volunteer boards like who provide advice to the council, so that it can be sure that there is no conflict of interest that information be provided to the council. So that's how that works. The ordinance would establish an ethics commission. So if there was a violation of something, some code of conduct, and that complaint could be initially considered by the commission. They would then make a recommendation. They can investigate it, review it, provide their recommendation to the council. The council could then weigh that and decide what action they want to take. So it just adds a lot of transparency, makes it a little more, out in front of a lot of these issues, so that before it become as the city continues growing, you have more projects going forward, this can become more of an issue, as you see a lot more economic development going on.
Where I would see this very helpful, so remember our planning and zoning commission are comprised of volunteers. So if unbeknownst to us, they have financial interest in a piece of property, and if it got zoned a certain way, it would benefit them more. That's information that we as a city need to know, so we can ensure that they refuse themselves from making it. we don't want anybody coming back in later on and saying, well, heck, you've allowed this to happen, he just made millions off of this, and nobody else wanted it. It just gives us a tool.
So where does the seventh member come from? So the 5 councilmen will appoint 1, the mayor gets to appoint 1, that's 6. Where does the seventh one come from?
It's up to y'all how y'all wanna do it, then we could do, everybody pick 2, we take a drop out of a hat, employees, pick, I don't know, yeah.
But 7 was just.
I think that's what came in the sample that we've got. And it would allow for every one of y'all to have a choice, and then we could go from there. But I'm okay with the I was like the same thing when I said, you know, how do we pick that 7th person? But I figured just throw the names in a hat. Pick a name out of a hat.
Requirement that we have 7, we have 6.
Well, you
Well, you don't wanna have
an
it,
even
yeah.
number, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you know what? I think
Also,
it's,
7 wouldn't work because then you would have the chairman that would give you 6.
let's take a look at this, because look at where we got this ordinance from. I think that's probably where the 7 came from, because of the number that they have in their.
So could we do 6, and then the chairman would have a voting privilege, correct? Or do they? We're gonna chair the commission, try to keep it where we have.
I think they typically do vote, and, but again, the council can set it up however they would like. You could have just 5, and usually what they'll do is among the 5, they pick 1 that way, or you could do it with 6 and the 6th person, just like your council.
So that's why they have the voting right.
Yeah, right.
That's often why you'll structure that way, but again, it's up to the council on how they would like that to work. The idea is to just establish a body that the council has confidence.
Hopefully, we never need it, but if we do, then we actually have.
Well, Jesse, could we approve this tonight, but not lock in the number of committee members that we would require?
Good, but if you want to do 5 or 6, it's fine. Either way, we could decide that.
Okay, that was my question. You know, was that cast in bronze again
No.
at 7?
No.
None of it is. If y'all wanna make changes, we can.
I would say probably stick to the 5 like we've done with other commissions that we actually have.
One per.
Yes.
And still allow the chairperson to vote. They would still need a right to vote. If it's selected by within the committee, the
Yeah.
chairperson, then the person needs to. Okay.
Yes, that's often how it's done.
That sounds good.
Yes.
So
A lot of planning and zoning commissions are done that way. They'll have 5, the chair votes,
Right.
but they usually choose amongst themselves. And often it's typically the most senior person, but somebody who's been there longer, just by virtue of the fact that they just are more familiar, therefore can run the meeting more smoothly. That's often why, but they can choose whomever they want to be the chair.
Do we have a time frame that we're looking at to bring in our appointees?
We don't yet. I think that would be the next council. If this got passed tonight, we could bring forth at the next council and set a time frame on getting those people appointed on this agenda.
And one more question, would the person we asked to be on the committee be required to be from our district? Or could we draw from anyone in town?
I don't do that in your district, no.
I think sometimes it gets us held to when we do it from our districts at times. But this is a commission to look at all ethics, you know, so I think from anywhere in town would be good.
I just wanted clarification before we move forward.
good question too.
Well, I move that we do form this ethics commission to establish standards of conduct for city officials and employees, and to come up with the ordinance to regulate this. And I also move that we have 5 members on the commission, one each chosen by Alderman of the city.
Go ahead and second that motion, Mayor.
Got a second? Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So. Okay. We showed them the video. Any changes based on motions,
No,
what you heard?
I think when I asked, I think maybe the first question I asked, I think addressed it to Jesse, if we approve this tonight. So I was moving ahead with ideas that we fully intend on addressing this and approving it. And we got the answers to that, and then I made a motion that we could put that into action. So that was fully the intent of what we were talking about in the motion I made.
Correct, Alderman
Do you
Embry.
understand it the same way?
And, Alderman Embry, that's why, because there were some questions and some confusion, possible confusion as to whether or not the motion was properly made, or whether there was some clarity as to whether or not that was the intent of the motion. For that reason, this particular agenda item, since we're proceeding with the next step, which is to go ahead and begin appointing actual commissioners to the next ethics commission.
Sure.
We wanted to go ahead and also take the opportunity to go ahead and have the council to affirm that vote, just to clarify that that was indeed intended. So that would be a motion considered possible for tonight. If the council wants to do that, is to go ahead and make a motion to affirm their approval of ordinance 2206. That's the number. And then also just to inform the council that probably the next council meeting, whenever the council has their nominee submitted to city administrator, we can go ahead and begin appointing the forming commission.
I would make the motion again, new. This time the motion would be a little more clear. I move that we approve the, where's the number? We approve city ordinance 22-06 to appoint, to create an ethics commission and to appoint 5 members to that commission, and that we proceed with all haste to put that into action.
And I'd like to confirm my second on that motion there.
Okay, first, second, okay, discussion? Mayor, that is not a motion that was made on August 22nd, 2022. And that is, the motion that Mr. Emery made, let me make myself very clear. I think that we need an ethics commission, but the motion that was made was that we would nominate members for that commission, and they would come up with the ordinance to regulate. That's exactly what was on the audio, and I have it verbatim in writing by Mr. Emery. I move that we do form this ethics commission to establish standards of conduct for city officials and employees, and to come up with the ordinance to regulate this. And I also move that we have 5 members on the commission, 1 each chosen by the aldermen of the city. Your intentions, 2 meetings ago, I intended to make a motion to table an item. That's not what I said. And I honored that request in my conversation with Matt. Whenever I checked the video, I acknowledged that and I dropped the issue. All that I am asking is that we stay true to our word. In that same meeting, the issue came up about us honoring what streets we wanted to pave, right? And that was the action of the council at that time. I have no issues whatsoever in us having an ethics commission. I welcome it because I feel like matters of this nature, they fall in a gray area, and if there's a complaint to be filed, by all means, if someone has a grievance, to bring it to the proper commission that we formed. And that is it. Because that is not the motion that was made, David, with all due respect. The pathway to hell is lined with good intentions, right?
Okay, we're gonna stop there. Basically, any other inputs?
One thing, I don't have the ordinance right in front of me now, but I know early on in the ordinance itself, it's the purpose of the ordinance, is to have a committee. And so by saying that we want a committee, we're fulfilling the purpose of the ordinance and vice versa. The wording was a little long. I admit I didn't word it exactly right, but the question I asked earlier indicated that we were moving ahead to approve this ordinance, and then maybe with a few wrong words, that was what I want to do. That's what I plan to do. That's what I was asking us to do. Now, my question would be, is there some reason why we shouldn't approve this? I mean, I just made a motion to confirm that that was my intention. Is there some problem with the ordinance as it's written, that we shouldn't approve that one?
It's the same thing that was presented before in the packet that was sent out, along with the standards that are going on there. Same thing that we've been operating on ever since. I think everybody in here, mostly everybody in here, has actually submitted their financial reports. So I appreciate those of you who actually took care of that. So we've been operating and fulfilling the requirements that went along with that. So there's nothing different in the sense of what we've been doing.
So if you don't mind, I can address it to Charlie. Is there a problem with that ordinance, that you don't like that one?
the ordinance that was presented, what city was at the top of that ordinance?
I believe it was Lidle, I believe. It's a Lidle ordinance.
Then why was it saying 7 members? You know, we could go back and watch the tape again if you like, because, you know, just to inform you, right, it's the exact same thing that your law firm drew up for the city of Columbus, is it not?
It may have been. I believe Frank worked on it, so I don't know.
We were doing amendments at night.
So, I mean, we're gonna adopt a draft of an ordinance without any revisions? How is that even, you know, something that we should do whenever the motion was made? There was no mention of adopting an ordinance in that motion. You listen to the tape.
My understanding was that we were not getting this commission together to create the ordinance. The commission was to review complaints of ethics violations. They were to be the judging body to see whether or not that should be brought forth any kind of actions against the person being accused. My understanding was not that they were gonna create the ordinance.
And that's exactly what it said. Come up with the ordinance, was the wording of it.
That was not once again,
That was not the intent, I get that.
and we asked for clarification. Everybody's watched the video. We presented the video now. So I think we're at this point. I'm just gonna go ahead and ask for us to go ahead. I have a motion. I got second for us to go ahead and do a vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Haven't seen it. Okay, so you abstain?
Sure.
Okay,
I'm not abstaining.
okay, so I got 2 abstains. I got 2 fours. All those against?
Hey, I mean, that's not the
Got a
motion,
name?
that was not the motion made on August 22nd, and even the way that the item is worded on the agenda tonight is incorrect. It's an affirmation of something that never occurred. I would love to see this ethics commission and an ordinance established, but we have to do it the right way.
So Jesse, have we actually done what we needed to do to affirm tonight?
Well, currently the motion only has 2 votes in favor and 2 abstentions and 1 opposed. So it would be not a majority. So it would be the motion to affirm it would be failed.
Okay, so we actually go ahead and we don't approve that?
Well, may I make a motion that we do approve ordinance 2206 as presented on August 22nd with the change from 7 to 5 members, and that we move ahead with all haste to nominate and appoint those members.
I'll second that.
Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? All those,
I'll abstain again, I still want to read the ordinance.
okay. So, okay. Sam, you actually got the whole packet that time you were here.
Yes.
Okay.
But I thought that the ethics, my understanding is that ethics, commission was gonna, they were gonna bring the information to us and we were gonna.
You were under the impression that the ethics committee was gonna create the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, I don't recall ever talking about that. My recollection, and from what I've seen on the video, we were talking about having the ethics committee actually reviewing complaints. That's why each council member, otherwise, it seems like we would get more people that would be, I guess, educated or more informed on how to create this ethics ordinance. I don't see where citizens, volunteers, or appointees that we assign are gonna create this ethics ordinance. It seems like a lot of legal information that lawyers and city attorneys should put together and the council vote on it. And that's, I believe that's the second motion that was made, is to accept the ordinance as written. If we can't get a consensus on accepting the ordinance, then we need to understand why the ordinance is not acceptable we need pinpoint items that, I don't like this paragraph, I don't like this sentence. The ordinance was passed out on Friday, I believe, so we've all had a chance to look at it.
Was that the same ordinance that was, submitted in August?
With the revisions, from what I've seen.
Yeah, from 7 to 5.
I mean, in the past, what we've done with ordinances, I think there were some questions, is we've had a workshop, and we sat down, we've all come together and said, well, let's change this. So as an alternative, I'd offer that, we set up a workshop in the future, and we can iron out these discrepancies and get the ball rolling there. And otherwise, it's all a matter of procedure, and proper procedure was not followed. And this might seem like some minor discrepancy, but once things get a little bigger, you're quickly going to run into problems. And, keeping the city out of hot water is why we're here. That's why we got elected. And that is what I have found out in looking at this. We can keep on going around and around in circles, but I think that, more information is required, and
This is honestly, okay, so you have a motion? Is that what you're actually doing, Charles?
I think there's a motion pending, Mayor, between Alderman Emery and Alderman Rodriguez.
So, all those in favor for us to go ahead and, well, actually, we already said that, yeah.
Can I ask for?
We had 2 for, 2 abstain, but we haven't gotten beyond that
Can
yet.
I ask for a revote on the second amendment to approve the ordinance?
That's what he did. You did.
I'm asking for the revote.
Okay, so let's go ahead. All those in favor on the revote? First. Okay. All those against?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I've not read it.
Again, just if I may interrupt here, is there something big that you would like to see changed in this? Otherwise, why aren't we approving it tonight?
We can
Because
talk
it-
about that during the workshop, David.
But we've all had access to it to look at it. We did before August 22nd. And
If you go back and you actually look at that, if that tape had continued on, you look at the meetings from that night, right? The vote on the meeting minutes was 4-0. I was deployed overseas. Sam, yourself, Michael, and the mayor were here, right? Constituted quorum. The vote was in actuality 3-0, right? I never saw this. I jumped into that meeting immediately following this, And I've already stated my position. I have no issues. I have issues with the way business is being conducted, and this is an attempt to keep the city out of trouble. So I would like us to follow proper procedure in all things, and especially when it comes to ethical matters.
This is a procedure for us to keep the council out of trouble. Once again, there's certain things in there on how we're supposed to conduct the meetings. There's certain things on how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. There's certain things, and this, honestly, it just came out when we started taking action about submitting financial information. Everybody in the council submitted their financial information with the exception of you. So at that point, when that came up, I know you started looking into it and trying to figure out what was going on and what came out of it. The financial, just for legality, Jesse, do we need something in a formality to be able to do that? That is a state requirement. Is that correct?
Correct, there is a financial disclosure requirement.
So this is nothing new that is included. Everybody in the council did that except you. And we introduced it last time for us to go ahead and take the next step because we needed to deal with it after we've been asking since the time that you've been back. I brought it up. I've asked for folks to turn it in. You didn't turn it in. And then here we are into the very last minute. Now we're dealing with re-looking at something that we've been operating on and we actually taken a look at. So council, with that, what I ask you to do is for us to go ahead and ask for a motion for us to go ahead and table this.
I move that we table it until next meeting.
Okay, I have a motion for us to go ahead and table this. I have a second? Okay, got a second? Any further discussion?
Sure, Mayor, you finally admitted it, because on my first meeting back, the comment was made at the end of that meeting that there were 2 council members who had not submitted financial disclosure forms. And of course, the cycle reporting regulated by the Texas Ethics Commission was the only one I was aware of. At no point in time was I ever made aware of an additional financial disclosure form, and that is because it was never adopted. So how am I supposed to be following ordinance of a city that aren't properly followed?
It was adopted. Once again, it's already stated. It was
No,
sent.
no, sir, it's
It
not,
was-
because we just watched the video, and I have it, in here, there's nothing in that motion that says we adopt this one. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry that people cannot, go off their intentions. I intended to cut my grass yesterday afternoon. I didn't cut my grass. It still needs to be cut. So, that's being said, there's no need, to misrepresent the facts and lie about this.
I don't think they were, so I will just leave it there. All those in favor for us to go ahead and table this? Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, thank you, council, appreciate that. We'll go ahead and, once again, we'll resend everything out, make sure that everybody reads the information, and we'll go ahead and take it into consideration. So important that we actually do our part, and we put things where they need to be, and especially when it's our responsibility to do the reporting that goes along with that.
So the draft of ordinance 2206 that's going to be submitted to the council will be for us to review
That's,
and accept or reject. And that's following council meeting.
that's good.
Well,
We'll go ahead and do that.
It'll be there at the beginning of it.
This is what I was gonna ask. Following the meeting, we'll be,
Yeah, it'll be at the
Yeah, the
beginning.
following meeting, you won't be part of
the
that.
other guys are gonna need to know what's going on.
We'll make sure they get, the
We
incoming
have one,
councilman will
we
get.
have one that is in attendance, we'll make sure that they get all the information.
All right.
I think it'll come.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to C, discuss and act upon the establishment of a city online message board on the city's website in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.006 for members of the governmental body to communicate or exchange information about public business or public policy.
So council, I did some research on this. I found, working with Legal Food, a couple examples, or 3 examples. They're really kind of hard to find across Texas how many cities have these, but the city of Austin has one, the city of San Marcos has one. They're both used, I believe, for the intention of what was brought up for this, and they're used, I believe, heavily. I found one for the city of Castroville. It was actually in the same website provider we used, but they don't have anything live on it. They haven't used it. So in searching it, I'm not 100% certain if our platform meets the requirements of the local government code on how it has to be stored and all that. I'd have to look into that. The city of San Marcos, the platform they use is a paid platform. You have to have a membership, probably somewhere around $2,000 a year. But it's a good platform. It works well. City of Austin, they had a whole presentation that I sent out as part of your packet. Y'all have to look at where they presented this back in 2013. They chose a company. That company no longer does this. They're on a free platform now, but it's open source, so I'm not really sure we want to go that direction. But looking at this, if we're going to use it like the city of San Marcos does, it's going to be very time consuming for staff. I'm going to use Paul, for example, because I would assume that's who would manage it on the city side. They would have to take it and put every agenda item on that message board, after they've already posted it publicly on our website and stuff like that. And then from Friday, I guess, until Monday, the time we start the meeting, 24/7 monitor that message board to see if there was any comments made by council, wanting additional information that wasn't already sent out. So it's a lot of work. Not just that, but then it's just something else that we've now got to keep and retain in files for up to 6 years for open records requests. I think personally, in my opinion, we are more transparent than we've ever been as a city as far as the information we put out there. The agenda packets that you get and the supporting documentation is exactly what the media gets, exactly what anybody can have. If the council wants, we could even go to where those get posted, where you have your agenda and next to it is the agenda packet. I would challenge anyone, if we're not transparent enough and people don't think we're doing what we're supposed to as a city, I'm sure this place would be filled up with residents complaining. Y'all would probably get phone calls nonstop about things. I don't think that happens. I think in whole, the community approves of what the council does and is okay with the way things are operating, and that they feel that the council is transparent, or the city's transparent enough. But we work for y'all, however y'all want us to move, we'll adjust and overcome.
And we project on YouTube.
Oh yeah, the YouTube is live, it's on, anyone can walk in, they've been well known when we have them. So, but however the council wants to move, we'll do whatever we need to do as staff.
Do we have a financial impact on our current provider? On what it would cost to do the,
If we, so I was able to manipulate our, once I found Pasture Bills, I was able to manipulate our platform that we have and created something that mimics what theirs looks like. And I think we can get it to work, but I'd have to work
is
with
there
the
a cost? Is there a cost
No,
for
we
the
already have
provider?
that. We already have
So it's
to.
already
Part-
provided.
If it does everything we need it to do, there is one feature at the bottom, the voting feature would have to get turned off. I don't know if Cashville has that on theirs because they don't have a post, so I can't tell. I could work with our, if we move in that direction, I can call our provider and say, is there a way to turn that voting feature on? Because that's one of the things, you can't have any kind of voting take place.
But you gotta keep in mind too, is that we have to have groups defined, who belongs in that group, and then that group has to be maintained for people that are no longer in council or are in council.
Yeah. So we would have to give access internally to each one of you, I guess, to log into the website, have credentials to log in like we do on the back end. And then I'm assuming with our provider, we can say they can only manipulate information here. I can adjust it to where only staff internally with login credentials can post and stuff inside that message board. And I can turn off that feature for people that are visiting our website, or how, you can log in as a guest to our website.
Right, but what I'm getting at is that someone would have to be in charge of creating those groups and maintaining the groups.
Yes. No matter, in any platform we go with.
And then I do like some of the examples that were sent out. The threads were based on topics. But then again, somebody has to be in charge to make sure those topics stay on subject. If you get a mispost somewhere, it has to be reorganized. I'm more concerned on the financial impact. And I understand if you don't have those numbers or can come up with those numbers.
I can tell you, the one I like the most is City of San Marcos. And you can start on their lowest tier system, and it was about, I think, $2,000 a year for just access to have their system.
And when I looked at the city of San Marcos, I was just looking, to me, was their agenda. And then each item that was posted on the agenda was there. There was no information like what Charles is asking for. There was no posting of information.
So
It
what I
was
would-
strictly agenda.
What I would see in San Marcos is they would post the agenda. So the thread was March 8th, 2023 agenda. And then inside there were individual threads, one for each agenda item. Inside those, researching those, I would only find one councilman that would ever comment inside there and say, can you please give me supporting documentation? The one I found was like a fire truck. I guess they had a fire truck get burnt up and do insurance and consider an act of calling person to do fire or something like that. And that council member asked, are we gonna be able to use all the same tools, or is that gonna cost us more money, or something like that? So then I guess somebody notified the fire chief or whoever, or he saw it, or however their system works, so he had to log in, and his response was something like, no, we're gonna be able to use, the majority of those tools because they didn't burn up, they're still usable, or something like that.
So what are we doing today? I have a whole list of things here that I want to talk about, that I want to regulate, that I want to discuss amongst ourselves as a council. I mean, where are we right now? What is it that we're trying to achieve here? Charles, can I ask you that?
I mean, the item was talking about the online message board, and of course, the information presented, right, by Matt pertained to other cities, and I think what the council discussed last meeting, right, was to come up with some rules and guidelines that we would adhere to. So, and keeping in the same theme as our previous topic, as far as the decorum and this online message board, I feel like an ethics commission, this would be in their purview to set it up and see, what should be discussed. Because if you just leave it up to us and we say, well, we can just, to rule, maybe we need more than that. Because matter is, right, being transparent. I don't think necessarily that you have to have a post for every agenda item. I think it gives you an opportunity to share information, because some of these items, they're very simple and straightforward. Some are a little more complex. So having those different avenues to, share information, I think is in the benefit of everyone.
So when you look at the Austin, when you look at the Austin website, those are topics.
Mhm.
You can go in there and comment or make a post on any particular topic, and looks like they're not set to a specific agenda item, but they are related to the agenda. If that makes sense. So,
I think Michael gives us the opportunity, of course, to tailor it for ourselves, adhering to state law.
my primary concern is that we don't use this website negatively. I'll give you an example. There was a post on the Austin website, and it was on parking. And Natalie Diller on April the 25th made the comment that instead of using dubious formulas to mandate how much parking is included in every new development, I believe we should allow individual property owners to decide what level is appropriate. That's a statement that person's making. It's not information.
I don't
that's what,
I don't concern myself with Austin.
Yeah, but that's where I don't want to go. I don't want this message board to go in that direction.
Like I said, I agree with you. It should not be a means for people, to be getting off topic. It's to refine the ideas for the betterment of the city. And if some items require a little more discussion.
Yeah, because I honestly don't think we can say yay or nay today and say, we're gonna go ahead and open up a message board and just go at it.
I'm all for having future discussions, especially since we're gonna have some new council members coming on board, and once they get here, we can figure out the cost, if it will cost us anything, and refine the idea, because, rushing to make decisions, I don't think it's in anyone's best interest.
Right.
So the purpose is to put information out there. Okay, what is it that we're not putting out here that would benefit that? Now, for those in attendance, just, this is no citizens that are gonna be interacting. This is a staff and a council that'll be interacting. So
I don't even want that, Mayor.
I'm just trying to figure out what else can we do. I liked your comment last time that you said that gives us a chance in person to talk about stuff and be able to respond versus putting it on the computer and leaving it sit there for somebody to comment, which might be between now, a few days before the council meeting. I mean, we all have lives, we're all busy. I think we're very transparent now with how we actually take care of stuff. I just don't see us, and we can keep going on this. The council will make a motion what you want to do with this, but we're spending a lot of time on speaking on something that is going to be a workload on our employees. Without a doubt, it's going to be, no matter what you do, what you take care of, where if we just wait and when we sit down in here and we talk about issues, it's out in the open, it's actually on camera and everything, that gives us a chance to interact. And we can go ahead and put it out there, and it's understood. I don't see any difference between that and putting it down on that. How many comments on those did you have? It was one council member, right?
When I looked on like the city of San Marcos, typically it was just one councilor that would comment.
So you can have somebody posting something, putting some comment, and that's it. And then it sits there, right?
So you can stay online for 30 days and then you can come offline, but then we have to store it for up to 6 years. So we'd have to digitize it or PDF it, and then Paula's now got to keep up with it for 6 years.
So now we gotta track it. So, council, I don't see us as a benefit for us to go ahead and have an online message board for us to be able to do this.
Two points for consideration. Even if we can do it at no cost, software-wise, there's still a cost in manpower.
Yes, there would be a
There's
cost.
still a cost in manpower. Do you know if Austin or San Marcos has a designated person, either full-time or part-time, that they need to monitor this?
I don't know that for a fact, but I would imagine with the size of their city, they probably have a PIO or somebody that's probably assigned to monitor this. And then if something comes up, hey, fire chief, you need to address the comment made by so-and-so on this day, please go ahead and address it.
Right.
I don't know that to be fact though, that's just my assumption.
Yeah, I was just asking. The second point is, to piggyback on what the mayor was saying, I know Matt has two phones, And I've called him at various hours and he answers, and the mayor, I know, will answer at 2 in the morning if I call him. I haven't done it yet, by the way, but I know he would.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, he has come.
Lots of times.
So, and as far as the exchange of information, we're small enough now, and this may be something we could look at in the future, but we're small enough now that I don't see the extra monetary and time, energy required to do it.
How is, David, with all due respect, how is that sharing information with everybody? It's just a conversation with you and that.
But it's not.
And I think this is just another means that we can facilitate discussion. That's why it was brought before the council. Give us more, for whatever reason, if it's cost prohibitive, budget's tight as it is, that we, wait off on it. And we can explore it. It doesn't have to be something we commit to. I mean, I think we all, of course, the mayor said, hey, we got busy lives. I don't think it's necessarily something that someone's gonna be checking 24 hours a day, nor would I expect them to. We can check in once a day, hey, there's a new post, there's something on there. If the agenda gets released, Friday afternoon, hey, there's something that adds to the discussion, Saturday or Sunday, put it on there, and if people read it, they read it. If not, I'm not gonna be like, well, you did not read this post, therefore we can't discuss it. It just gives you an opportunity to digest it at your own pace and to formulate your own opinion.
But you're putting out an opinion out there for people to actually have. Once again, the opinion is in here.
No, sir. What I'm doing is presenting information and people can then form their own opinion. I'm not gonna tell people how to ever vote.
So if you want to put an opinion, you have your own methods. You have a Facebook page? Right?
This is,
You can put it out on Facebook.
This is not about
You-
personal Facebook pages or even political Facebook pages. This is about, let's stay on topic here. This is about an online message. And if we would like to pursue the creation.
And Jesse, how many of the folks that you represent have one?
None of the cities I work with, and most of the cities don't have it.
And it's
They have
because,
their reasons for
just
it.
because you have to be sensitive about what is discussed, how it's interpreted.
None of my cities that I work with do it. Most of the cities that our firm represents 20+ cities. Texas, none of them have message boards, but
Just how many cities are in the state of Texas?
I don't know offhand. But I can tell you that when I searched online, very few of them do. The vast majority do not.
The vast majority is, there's like 574 cities in the state of Texas, right? Somewhere in that ballpark.
Right.
And you said you represent 20. So you represent what? From less than, what, 4%?
But taking that into account, you went and searched out of 500 something, how many people have a board?
I found these three, and I found the only one in our geographic area.
So 3 out of
was
500
Yeah.
have a board.
I don't think
So-
every city was checked to see if they have that.
Well, once again,
We're
you're
talking
using-
about Lidle
You're
creating
using
a
the
message
figure,
board.
you're using the figure to challenge him. I'm using the figure to go ahead and point out that 500, only 3 actually have it.
But should we go back and check on every city to determine, I don't care about all these other cities and how many of them have a message board, Mayor. I'm presenting an option for the city of Lidle to have the message board.
And I'm presenting information in the sense of whether or not it's being utilized and the effect that it has on our employees to be able to manage the system. So I'll just leave it there. So council, a motion or anything?
I'd like to make a motion. I move that we establish a city online message board on the city's website in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.006 for members of the governmental body to communicate or exchange information about public business or public policy.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and do this. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Motion dies. Do not have a second. Council, anything that you want to do in the future with this one? Jesse, do we need to do anything?
Mayor, if there's no second or there's no additional motion, you can move on to the next item.
Okay, so motion, we'll just go ahead and item dies. Thank you, Jesse, appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on to D, update on TCEQ requirements for community water testing for lead and copper sampling for the period of July through December 2023, and upcoming testing plans for 2023.
I'll let James update. He's probably got more information on that, on what's required.
Last week, we turned in our 40 samples for 2022, and in June, we plan on doing the other 40. What happened is they increased our, we do it every 3 years. Since we had a new well, they required that we do samples as soon as the well, a couple of months after the well was on. Anyway, before that, we only had to do 20, and we had about 22 that were approved by the TCEQ. So we had to get at least another 20 in order to do our 40, so we had a couple of extras just in case. But we got all 40 put in last week, turned in. We got the bottles and the paperwork for the next 40. We're gonna start in June for this year.
So we're on track, everything good?
As far as I know.
Okay. How many more do we need, James? Is this just till June, and how many, it's till December? What's the time?
40.
Does it end in June, or?
Yeah, for this year, we need 40, and then it should go back to every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
So
And that's for this specific lead and copper. There's another thing that we're governed by year to get completed still. And that's an inventory.
see, the problem with this is we have to turn in the addresses and the houses. They have to be a pre-1990 home. That's when they still use 50-50 solder and copper. So we have to pick, the problem was we have to pick the homes and get them approved. So that's what took some time.
Okay. We got the next wave to pre-approve everything.
We're gonna
We
use
can
the
use the
same
same
ones.
exact, it's the same houses all over again.
Same houses we use again. We've already told people we're coming back in a month and they know about it.
Already, we're kind of somewhat handcuffed by the resident, right? We gotta give them the information at a certain time, they gotta pull the sample, it's not like just show up and take the sample. But those residents helped us out, and
It has to be a 6-hour period where there's no water used. And then we give them a bottle and they have to fill that bottle. First use, after it hadn't been used for 6 hours, they use it, they fill it. And I'll tell you what, Lyle's been pretty good. Over the last years, we hand out 20 bottles. The next morning, we have 20 bottles. This year, we handed out, I think,
21, you said the first
yeah, I
day?
think first day, everything we handed, we got back. We got handed one, we only had one person that we could locate the second day. They turned it in the next morning. We went out the next week, handed 19 bottles and got them all in.
So, we're on track.
So,
one of those bottles.
Awesome.
And all of our residents that did it last time have agreed to do it again for us next month.
now they need to be notified within so many, once we get the results back, they need to be, each individual homeowner needs to be notified of the results.
We'll probably work with Public Works to maybe hand deliver those or
We can
something.
do that.
And these are new readings. These are not the ones that we missed.
No, so the first 40 he talked about were the ones we missed,
Right. And that's
that we
taken
filled
care
out and said, we'll get them completed by May of 23
of. Right.
to answer that violation. We've done that, so now we should be good on that. And then when we do them in June of 23, that's the timeline. We're back in cycle. We won't be late on them.
So council, this is just to give you an update since it was an open item. Appreciate all the efforts, James, of being able to take care of it and making sure that we stay on target so we can just go ahead and clear that out, that obstacle. That'd be great. Awesome. Thank you. Any questions, council? on that?
Yeah, one quick, I'm just curious, James. They have to go 6 hours without using any water in the house. Flushing the toilet in the middle of the night, does that count?
We ask them not to. I mean,
I'm
just
just
kind of tell people you can use it, just please don't flush. But most, I don't know if people do it or not, but they want you to take the sample from like either your lavatory where you brush your teeth or the kitchen sink where you drink water.
Okay.
So we ask them to take it from one of those two deals. And you kind of remember if your bathrooms are away from your sink a little bit, we're only asking for a bottle. So that water probably sat in that line all night, you know what I mean? If you didn't use the sink.
I was just curious.
But we ask them
Some of
not to
us
do it.
use the toilet
We give them all the rules and hope they follow them.
James just dated himself, he said laboratory, I know, that's all military terms, so. Be able to do that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to E, consider an act on the resolution of R opposition to House Bill 1246 and Senate Bill 369, providing for automatic de-annexation for certain areas that do not receive full municipal services.
So council, you have the draft resolution there, just approving it. They're identical bills, one on each side. I just checked before the meeting, there's 7 stages before it becomes law. On Senate Bill 369, it is past stage 2, but there's no movement in that, so I don't anticipate it going. You have to go pretty quick, but it's only at stage 2 of 7. And then House Bill 1246 is only cleared stage 1 out of the 7 with no movement after that. So I don't think there's a lot of traction. The information I'm seeing from TML is there's not a lot of traction, but you never know until the last minute. I mean, these can move rapidly. But so far, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of traction. There's a lot of opposition. TML has sent their letter of opposition back up to the legislature. So this is just our option to say you formally disapprove it, and we can forward that on.
Council?
I only have one question. On the first whereas, it states the annexation of certain areas. When I read the bill, it doesn't designate any area. It's very general in term. Is that verbiage okay?
Reason I phrased it as certain areas is because it's only areas that don't receive all.
Okay, so
municipal
you're
services.
generalizing it based
So,
on the
yeah,
services.
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
not the locations.
Right,
Okay.
so because any area that does not receive
Right.
full, and it defines, the bill defines what
Right.
we mean by full.
Okay.
And then for that reason, so any of those areas of the city can fall within that definition and we can be disannexed. So not the entire city, we did disannex.
Right.
So just certain areas of the city would be subject to
Of services.
So you got spots that center county at the annex, and they're completely encircled, and all of a sudden, we're not their provider, and they have to wait for the county or somebody. It's weird.
And there's another change that needs to be made, Jesse, it's the city of Lytle, not city of Hondo, is in opposition to this. Yeah, that's not what we got in front of us.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to act on the resolution number R23-06, expressing city's opposition to HB 1246 and SB 369, providing for automatic de-annexation of certain areas that do not receive full municipal services, and to include the amendment as suggested.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Appreciate that. Charles, thanks for bringing that up on the last meeting.
Yeah, that's,
Appreciate that.
well, no problem. I don't wanna see people, I don't wanna see Michael kicked out,
No.
living in no man's land.
I won't be able to call Richie.
Nope. You're gonna have to just-
They just want to answer you now.
All right.
Hey, Richie's gonna be disannexed too, so.
Okay, F, consider and act upon ordinance number 23-06, establishing parking requirements for certain subdivision lots located in R1 zoning districts.
So this got brought up a while, we talked about this for a while, but before you know, the actual ordinance. So anything, it has to go to the legalese, but simply put, if you're gonna develop 5 lots, right, I think the cutoff is 4. If it's 4 or less, you're not governed by this. If you're doing 5 or more lots, you're governed by this, where you have to provide for 2-car access parking, off-site or off-street parking, is what this is.
Correct. This tracks some of the existing wording that we have for R2 residential zoning districts. And so we're applying it specifically. I think that when this item was discussed earlier, in city council, the direction was there was concern about on-site parking for future larger type residential subdivision developments. And so the ordinance specifically applies to the platting subdivision code. It would require future residential developments for in R1 districts to have 2 parking spaces. It can be located where it can allow, for example, the driveway to be used as an and a parking pad, so long as it's blocked the sidewalk for the street hazard. So, those are offering some flexibility for future residential.
We just want to make sure as we have some of the subdivisions in the future and everything, that we have parking inside the driveway versus flooding the streets. So this is one of the ways that we can kind of help guide those conversations to be able to do that. We were fortunate enough with working with Saddle Ridge that they're working with us, to take care of that, but we definitely need to put it down on documentation so it can be a referral whenever we have a developer going in and notice that is a requirement.
And this doesn't affect any of the developments that already have the vested rights. And so they're still covered, and this would all be new stuff.
So does this include mobile home parks?
Mobile home parks are not allowed in R1 residential
Okay.
districts. And I think they do have a separate existing parking requirement under the existing code for, if it's R2 or R3, I believe the parking requirements apply.
Okay.
So they already have an existing zoning requirement. So, but this change wouldn't affect that.
What is the statewide trend as far as new developments are concerned when it comes to parking requirements? Because I was reading last week that the city of Austin is doing away with it.
Am I familiar with the statewide trends on parking requirements with regard to for residential?
Just leaving it up to the developers to maximize the use of the land. I mean, not necessarily getting into front, side setbacks, rear setbacks, but as far as one parking space, two, whatever, that they were saying, hey, developers, you can figure it out. I always want the city to be as attractive as possible and trying to get folks to move out here. So I just don't know. That's why I asked.
I'm not familiar with any particular trends.
I think again, so it was more what Lyle was wanting, not necessarily what everybody else was wanting.
I just know I've visited people in some housing developments, different places in San Antonio, and they don't have 2 parking spots per dwelling, and you almost can't drive down the street. I mean, it becomes a one lane, and if someone's coming the other way, somebody's backing up. I mean, it was a jungle.
I went to a subdivision this morning, same thing.
Yeah.
So our
So
parking inside now.
we want to attract people out here, but we also want to keep looking nice out here, so.
And safety.
Yeah, it's safe, and for fire department and police to
When,
ingress.
that's not something we're used to. So when you're in Saddle Ridge, for example, if kids are right there, they come out between them cars. They're on both sides of the road. That's the way it is everywhere. But we don't have subdivisions like that. So I'm having to adapt personally to driving a lot, real slow, because there's and plus you got a lot of people with work trucks, work vehicles, and you got, kids there that have cars. So it's quite something different for us we are dealing with.
It's understandable that if they have a work truck or visitors to their house, someone's gonna be parking in the street. But initially, for the dwellers, the people who live there, they need to have it too. I think it's a good thing for the city.
All right, what's the right of way requirement for our streets out there in the new subdivisions? What's the minimum, the right of way that they're going
Like
with?
I have to look at whatever the code, I think it's 60 foot on their streets. I have to look at what the code shows on that. That's all reviewed by the engineer when they submit their MDP to ensure that they meet our code requirements.
I mean, just driving through Saddle Ridge, I guess in particular, that's the only one we can really drive through right now. That might be the right, but as far as the actual road itself, I don't think I'd be surprised if it was 40 feet.
The road might be 50.
The roadway is probably 35, 40, but you have a wide work truck, you're looking at 12 feet wide sort of deal. Got them on both sides of the road. You got 2 people. I mean, it gets tight in there, like Dave is talking about. I mean, that's something I think that we might come back and look at and see, well, maybe these streets are too narrow. Maybe the speed limits, since they're 2-lane roads, we go and lower the speed limit slightly. But safety's paramount. And of course, I think in all neighborhoods, we want the kids outside playing. Not necessarily playing in the street, but, the ball rolls out there, you got to, be able to stop. So I think, of course, all those things come into play, but namely safety.
Mayor, I want to make a motion to accept, I want to make a motion to approve the ordinance number 23-06, establishing parking requirements for certain subdivisions, lots located in R1 zone district.
Motion.
I'll second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay, Mayor, I feel like the developers can figure it out.
All right, the motion carries forward. Still have a little bit of time. Let's see if we can go ahead and take care of one more. G, report and discussion regarding water systems repair scheduled for May the 20th, 2023, and city efforts to avoid water service disruptions.
So council, you may know, we've got, well, you may or may not know, we've got 3 repairs in the city that are gonna, they're major repairs, and they're gonna require a system shutdown to reduce the pressure on our system for us to even try to attempt those repairs. One is over at the high school at their main meter that's leaking. The second is in front of the primary school that's been leaking for a while, and we have one inside the park. So our hopes is on May 20th, we've already met with a contractor, and I do have some pricing now, so I know that's unknown, kind of scary. But, the plan, and James, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll start to shut the system down around, what time?
A little pressure after midnight, probably.
Yeah, so we've got an event, community center, lasts till 12:30, and we want to be able to get in right after 12:30 to start the work, so we get it back online. We do have to do some costs, so the fire hydrant in front of the school needs to be replaced. We'll actually go replace that and tap it onto the 18-inch main that sits right there, so we'll actually get better flow right in front of that. I think parts to do that is like $8,600 to do that. The contractor has given us a cost of about $15,000 and some change for the labor. So like our guys maybe might be a little too much for them to get all done in one night, so we're gonna bring a contractor in to do that work for us. They'll open up the 2 major, well, our guys will open up the jobs, and then this contractor will come in that night once the pressure's down and then do the work. The one in the park, our guys will take care of themselves in hopes that by that morning, Saturday or Sunday morning, we get the water system brought back up. As long as we don't drop below the 20 PSI threshold, we won't have to issue a boil water notice. But if we do, we'll have to issue boil water notice that would last through Sunday and through
Takes
Monday.
Samples on Monday, and we get results on Tuesday.
They have to roll for 24 hours. So that's why we're pushing this to Saturday and doing it Saturday night versus a Friday night job. We're going to pre-notify all of our businesses to let them know, kind of anticipate it, and we'll let you know officially. I'll draft all the documents that have to go out to TCEQ and everything, have ready in case we do get below that 20 PSI threshold. But the contractor said he can do some of this work with pressure, but one's a big job, so I'm not sure. We'll see.
We have to, the school there, to remove that one hydrant, we have to replace 13 feet of pipe. And what he wants to do is cut the couplings. We don't want to cut the asbestos pipe because we don't want any residual left in the line, so they have to replace the section, which is 13 feet. So a whole section of pipe will come out. At the school area, he's going to replace the saddle. It's a 6-inch by 4 saddle. So he's going to replace it and put a new valve on it.
At our high school.
At the high school. So those are the 2 main ones. One of them, we're going to have a full 6-inch discharge. The other one will have a 4-inch opening in it. So.
But we have the ETs done. Our sidewalk, they both interfere with our sidewalk project going in over there.
Yeah.
I'm having a meeting with them later this week to find out the specifics, but we have to get those done no matter what. And these have been open for a while, so we need to get them done.
What's the underlying cause of these problems, James? Like, why are we having issues with these?
The one at the school, it's the tap, the gas between the valve and the tapping saddle. Every place around the school that they did that, the fire hydrants and everything, we've replaced them already, and this is the last one.
That was the original from like '98, probably when they did it.
Whenever it was put in.
Yeah.
Back then they used a real thin gasket between the tapping saddle and the valve, and apparently it's just washed out over the years. The one at the school is, the fire hydrant's leaking and there's no valve. Back then, when they put the AC lines in, they didn't put valves for fire hydrants, you know.
And that was what, 1960 something?
Yes, sir. We can't do anything with the fire hydrants, you know, you can't replace gaskets or washers, turning the water off.
Well, I guess I bring it up because we got a lot of lines throughout the city, and taking care of those is going to be an issue moving forward.
And the one at the high school, we're not just gonna replace the gasket. I guess it's been leaking so long, there's a chance it probably ate through some of the metal of it. So we're gonna buy all new parts.
So put a whole new saddle and valve in it. Try
Well,
to use the same tap.
Yeah, the last thing we wanna do is think we got everything we need and it didn't work.
Yes, sir.
Look for
So
parts.
we're gonna get the information out, later on this week?
Yep,
or-
as soon as we're done with tonight, we'll start pushing information out. I've got a flyer set that we can, work with our public works code compliance to get out and deliver to the businesses and, post online to school, yeah.
Get everybody, because we need to make sure that we
Yeah, we'll
have,
put it on our message board, everything, yes, sir.
we have at least, those that serve other people, have to be prepared to go up till Tuesday before we get the all clear.
Yeah, probably Tuesday midday. I think the last time
We
we
need,
did
we
mid-morning.
need to make sure we get the word out early enough to be able to do that, but, I've seen these guys at work and I'm hoping they do their magic like they've done in the past. There's only been one time I've ever seen in the years I've been here where we actually had to bring it down completely to zero. But the other times we actually worked out of it, except during the winter storm, we did have
We're gonna
that.
cross our fingers.
Yep.
He says there's a chance.
Yep. So pass the word around, councilman, please let your districts know, let folks know, let them know to be prepared on that night. And be able to take care of that, so.
So I have a question to kind of piggyback off of Charles' question. I know it's expensive to be reactive versus proactive. Do we have maintenance schedules? Are we looking at some of the problems we've had in the past?
You gotta remember, we got steel and.
I know,
These lines are 60
and
years
for that
old.
main reason, do we have anything proactive in plan to address some of these issues?
Eventually, they're gonna have to be replaced, these lines.
But then
So-
when we're reactive, it's very expensive when they break down.
Okay.
The official answer is no. The city's never budgeted towards that. In the coming year's budget, I've already talked to our engineer on what they're seeing the cost to replace 6-inch main per linear foot. And then working with James, we're gonna try to identify some of those lines, like which ones do you have the most trouble with? How many linear, let's see where we can work with that. As you heard in the budget, we've got a bunch of accounts in there and we need to do some spend down. That's why people pay water fees and impact fees and all that. I mean, that's to keep the system operational so we don't have.
And that would be a good thing going forward. Let's get this into the budget, for your department.
I got a line that, Mayor called me about a leak the other day on it. I call that my stainless steel line. It's an AC line. We have so many clamps on it, you wouldn't believe. It's, like I said, it's so high.
It's all part of that.
We've got several leaks, but we're gonna, in next year's budget, I mean, unfortunately, with what we've got going on, they're gonna be little projects, but overall.
Some of them come lined up where we get a grant, kind of like the one going out to.
So the CDBG, that's an old line, and we hope the CDBG grant does get awarded, so we can replace the sections in there that we want to. Moving forward from there.
Sounds good moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, we've talked about that, we're gonna try to work on budget.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this is something to probably bring up here in next month or so, but, we previously had this conversation with the old AC lines, the old galvanized steel, and that they're all across the city. And the last estimate that I saw from the city engineer, it was in the neighborhood of 20 plus million to replace all the lines. So, $500,000 CDBG grant is just going to scratch the surface. We might be able to, we won't even get engineering plans sort of deal for that project. So I know Divine, they're in the process and they've been doing that for the past 5 years replacing, and it's still not done.
They've had a bunch of issues with their contract and how they operate, from what I gather in the paper. But that's just a kind of a grant from CDBG, but most of it is a loan.
I think they're Development Board grant, but I guess I bring that up because just to give a timeline to accomplish this, I would love that we have no issues, but I would anticipate issues in any project of this scope and nature, and that we have contingency plans in place to minimize the cost.
I think James would agree with you in the county. We would love to be able to say replace all the water lines to the town. We would love that. Unfortunately, I don't think we want to get our taxpayers with that bill. There's a bunch of big items, and it's unfortunately, most of it falls in James's department because that's the most out there. But there's a lot of things I think we need the city and council to assist them to get them ahead of the game, so they got a lot of open projects.
Okay, with that in mind, it's 8:00. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. Be back in here. Thank you.
Let's see how well you get.
Paola.
Paola.
Oh, are they out there? You're live on audio.
Okay. Good.
Sorry, they were taking a nap break.
All good, all good. Okay, so you can go ahead and show us, let's go ahead and look, it's at 8:16. Go ahead and show us back. Let's go ahead and move on, and we're gonna let's go ahead and move on to department reports, and this is Animal Control Director's report. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Santi?
For the month of April, we had 70 calls for service, set out 4 traps, 35 miscellaneous calls, 6 surrenders, returned 2 animals back to their owners. Had 6 animals transferred. We had a amount of 30 animals come in, so I brought our numbers back up. But we did, in the month of April, we did have 6 adoptions. So right now, our numbers are high as C 47 and 18. So now I was thinking about trying to do another adoption event towards the end of this month on Saturday. I'm thinking about the 27th of May, probably, to come up with one to help our numbers come down. And I have an appointment tomorrow at Lytle Vet. So
Okay, we'll coordinate with Matt, make sure, I think that's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that is.
is it?
Yeah, so we might want to go ahead and take a look at that.
Okay.
We need.
Yeah, I was looking at the calendar sheet, but yeah.
On the 30 animals that got surrendered, or that you brought in, but only 6 were surrenders, were the rest, like, people found or we captured, or?
Yeah.
That we picked up from somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 cats to Texas Meeting Rooms, 1 cat to Tunis Rescue. Actually, you got 1 cat. So our numbers, we have a total of 13 adopted so far this year, 73 transferred to rescues. Like I said, there were 6 adoptions this past month. 6 volunteers, total of 24 hours. This is the food that we give out on Bella's Pantry that was donated from the community site in San Antonio. So that pile is pretty much dwindled down already from Saturday. When I came in at 7, there was already 32 cars lined up along the road, and a total of 79 came. Bella's Pantry, 106 pet owners came by, 8 new people. 24 from Atascosa, 3 California, 24 from Divine, Honda 1, 25 from Natalia, 1 from Lacoste, 24 from Ida, 1 from Warren, 3 from Somerset. So it's pretty much the same. The cities are here along with us, along 35, Divine, Natalia, the ones that are coming the most to Bella's Pantry.
So I have a question for you. Quite a number of cities there. Do they have a program similar to Bella Pantry?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think we're the only ones around here that do it. Besides, I know City of Seguin does it. But yeah, around here, I don't know if anybody else does it. I don't know if the food bank, I know someone said from the food bank, when they get food, they give them cat food or dog food as well, but I'm not too sure on that.
This is through Animal Allies too, right?
Yes, a lot of animal lives help.
We're unique also that we have a nonprofit too that works along with them compared to some of the other cities.
Yeah, I just didn't know how many, or if anybody in the area did this.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I think just recently Atascosa, well, not recently, but Atascosa also has an Alamo Allies
Yes,
version,
they
right?
also have an allies, but I'm not sure what they,
The town of Edgewood?
no, the county,
Oh, the county.
Okay.
they help out the animal control for Africa.
Okay.
Out of Georgia.
I just wanted, because of all these cities here, we're pulling people all the way from Honolulu.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had programs and then people went around to all of them and picked up food, or if we were kind of central location.
Yeah, we're the main one. That's why everybody thinks we're gonna run out, which we do sometimes. That's why we get there so early. They line up at 6:30. My career day at La Costa Elementary, I was emailed from one of the council members, counselor, and asked if I wanted to come over, and I said yeah. So I went over to a couple of stuff I used. Kids were asking all these questions, what we do, and yeah, and our fleet accident, I actually got the truck back today from Joe's Automotive, so they fixed it. The GPS rolled the driver at fault, so it was covered by their insurance. So the side of the truck and the back bumpers all fixed. I just need to now take off the decals on it. That's the pictures from where they rear-ended.
On the one side.
It's very minor damage and not injury.
I didn't get that from that.
So Santi, I know we've talked about it, and I know you're working with different events and everything, but what is the plan? What are we gonna do? Because, our numbers, and I know you gotta have the flexibility to take animals that get dropped off. So what is the plan for us to be able to get to where you're operating within your limits?
Yeah.
Because right now you have more animals than you're supposed to, right?
Yes.
So what is the plan? We gotta figure it out.
Yeah, I was talking to Matt and Lynette, talking about like people that bring in animals that they say they found in Lidle, coming up with something that you have to have a Lidle address.
To do something, but the problem we're seeing out there is if we just say you gotta have a Lidle address, they're gonna figure out a way to circumvent it. The problem is when I saw 30 dogs or animals brought in this, it's like almost every month it's 30 surrenders. At some point, we either have somebody breeding dogs and just dumping them in our city or something. We can't have as many dogs as they've taken in over the years.
Within
We
our
can't
city
have that
limits.
many dogs or that many animals in the city in general. So I don't know how we fix
Like on
that.
Main Street, there was 2 dogs that were dumped in the city. One of them I was able to get, the other one I had to set a trap for. So right now there's another dog I'm trying to catch that's very elusive, doesn't get in the trap, so I'm trying to figure out where it's hanging out.
Did you ever catch one in the park?
No, that's the one.
That's the one?
That's the
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Seen it at the nursing home, seen it on this side of
It's
town.
all over the place.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out where it's going so I can try to do something to catch it.
We just need to come up with a plan. We need to get down to where it's a lot easier for you guys to manage what you have.
I think we need to think outside the box, look at other facilities that are larger than ours, that maybe we could take animals to and see if they can get them adopted out. I don't know what our options are. I think some, all the organizations they typically work with and some others, and animal rescues are full.
I need to have 3 going on transport next Monday.
Is that a California transport?
That's the one. They're only taking 3. There was a certain number. They were gonna take 8, but of course they're working with Castroville too and Hondo as well. So they're almost limited to 3 that they can pull from us.
Matt, is council aware of what Atascosa County does for numerous cities in the county?
So Atascosa County does have a plan. We can sign an MOU with them and their local agreement to where when we want, we can take animal for a small fee, take animals, release them to the county, and then they've got their facilities probably 4 or 5 times what ours is. And they do the same thing. They work with organizations and do adoption events. They're very active on social media. And that's an option if the council wants, that we can move forward with that. And that's what I'm saying, we need to work with large organizations. We've worked with all the rescues, and they're all full. So we gotta work with other, animal control departments that are larger than ours that can maybe have the option to take it. They, from what I understand, they've got a contract with every city in Atascosa County to do that except Lyman.
So Santi, can you look at all the options and come up, just put it as a regular agenda item for a month from now? And you'll be briefing, and let's put it on there, present your plan.
Okay.
Tell us how we're gonna go ahead and reduce the numbers, okay?
Yes, sir.
We might as well get it in front of the council, so if there's decisions that need to be made, let the council be part of those to be able to help you get where we need to get, okay?
Do we have a number that should be involved that we should?
Well, honestly, I think it should be no more than 20, right, with dogs?
Yeah.
Should be
So
more than
Our facility is designed to house 10 dogs. And the way it's designed is each kennel, 10 of them, has what they call, and I don't know why they call it a guillotine door, but it is. But it's a guillotine door that's in between them. So when it's time to, you have it open, they run back and forth. When it's time to clean, you get on the one side, you shut it, you're able to get in there, clean that out, and then swap to the other side. That way you don't have the interaction with the dog or worries about that. We could, it's not optimal, but we could close that and house 2 dogs in one kennel, because it's 20. But that doesn't give us a quarantine kennel, so that takes that one up too.
How are we housing 47 right?
They're split up right now.
Split up, where?
You have some outside too, right?
Have 2 outside.
How many do we have like inside the office area?
8.
So our facility was never designed to house animals inside, and we're housing just to try to keep them, and do what we can with them.
You ever been over there? Yes. All right, we've been over there.
So Santi, just come up with a plan, okay? You're the expert, you've been doing this for a while, so work with Matt and come up with a plan and bring it in front of council. We'll put it on the agenda a month from today, okay? So that way we can go ahead and help you if we need to help make some decisions, okay, for you. But we need to get you to where you're operating within your limits,
Yes, sir.
okay? Make it easier for you. All right. Council, any questions? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Library, here we go, Cassandra.
Well, our computers just kind of down, it goes up and down with people coming in the library, so we had 79 users, and then of course kids 84, because they're always, it's 20-minute sessions, so sometimes they'll keep going and do another 20-minute session, and we've got 3 of those computers, so. Our checkouts, they went down a little bit, but again, it's the end of the year, and we've got slow, but it's starting to pick up again, so we're already working over 500 checkouts for this month. And we had 1,262 per day. Our Simply eSteps, the ebooks, they went up to 27. So last month there were 20 users, now we have 27 users, and we were getting more and more people. So I started putting it, I added certain places on the website, and then I added it on the catalog as well. And we have an option to add the actual titles to the catalog, so the patrons can see it. Now, there won't be a direct link to that they would have to, it'll tell them where to go, and if they have questions, they can call the library and we can show them. Our library cards were 8 new accounts, 16 renewals, and 32 library cards that April made. Still doing our story time. We have, I think, a total of 15 kids, but they don't come all at the same time. We have between 5 and 7 kids that come at a time. So sometimes these kids are sick this week, or they're out, but it's getting a little better. We only have left the adult nonfiction. We're still working on it. With just the 3 of us, it's kind of hard, but we're working on it. Curbside, we're still offering it because we do have several patrons that use this service, which are some of our older patrons, as well as some of the parents that have little ones and they don't want to get down with them. They order their books ahead of time. All we do is check them out to them and put them out to the car. And these are our library displays for the month. The second one is stress. Stress, and then the next one is lawn and garden, and then humor. And then we had autism and poetry month. And first finished with those, and I took donation. Also attended TLA, or Texas Library Association conference last month.
Uh-huh.
And it was very good. Ended up leaving on Friday to get back, and but definitely really good. I was actually nominated for the Small Community Library Roundtable Chair-elect. So I get to do that next year for the Small Community Library Roundtable. It's a dessert social that they have, so it'll be exciting. They're like, oh, we need new blood, and I was like, oh, okay. So we kind of got volunteered between my library, the Jurgensen Library, and Coteau Library. So we're all going to be on together.
Good. Good.
That's about it. Any questions?
Council? All right. Go ahead and move on to the next. We got code compliance.
No. So compliance is under mine. Are they on this?
It's on there. It was on the agenda.
No, that should have been removed. Code compliance falls under mine. I'll report on this next month in my report. Sorry, Skip. Yeah,
Thanks, good enough.
I missed that on there then.
Okay.
Yeah, that gets under mine. Unless y'all want it from him directly. It's up to y'all. It's this month.
Council? Good?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and do D.
No, I'm not. Good afternoon, everyone. We did a total of 62 work orders. We put in 11 new meters, replaced 3, replaced 2 service lines, found 1 customer leak, re-reads the water and gas. We did 4. The customer requested 4. The city didn't request any. No sewer problems last month. On miscellaneous, we had 41. Final on water and gas, we had 13 new ones, 10. No cutoff list last month. We had miscellaneous work orders, we had 18. It's kind of a chart of our work orders. Man hours, we had 680. Water installation, 22. Water maintenance, 137. Sewer maintenance, 32. Sewer plant maintenance, 166. Meter reading, 64. 1 hour on rereads. That was it for man hours. Locates, we did 44. Mowing and shredding, 15. Burning brush, 53. Miscellaneous, 146. That's a chart on our man hours. Okay, here's our water usage again. We have 785 feet. Our reduction is 90.33 acre feet. That's 35% since the first of the year. And our new authorized amount is 694.67. And we've used 115 acre feet.
So 115 out of 694.
Stage 3, there's our 35%. 120 days now, started in January. That's to the end of April. We got an 11.51% reduction. And that's kind of a chart on it. That's how much we're authorized, the new amount, and our current.
Awesome.
Okay, we advertised for a full-time public works position. That ended on the 26th of April, and we have 4 applicants. We're gonna go over those applications this week, and then maybe next week, interview the applicants.
Correct. Yes, I think this applicant pool looks
Good. Now we'll get you back to 100% manning.
What's that?
Okay. Awesome. Council?
Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Dean, police chief report. Here we go.
Time it.
Yes, you had 12 minutes last time.
1 minute for every dog we have.
Gee.
Stop moving. She's fine. You're free.
You're free. Okay, keep on going here. Same old basic stuff there, nothing out of the ordinary. Roll nothing out of the ordinary, citations, nothing out of the ordinary. 185 speed, is that the big one, 185? Yeah, a lot of speed. 17 stop sign red light. That's about normal. I'll go just rush my stuff real quick. I don't have to take forever to explain on that. Adult arrest, we got the whole thing there. Your TIs, warrant, drug paraphernalia, DWI, drug paraphernalia, theft. No, none of that. Identity theft, financial fraud, little stuff there, hot shake deal we got taken care of. Little pretty fiddly stuff. Criminal mischief, not much there either. No burglary, which is always good. Thefts were iPhone, Apple Watch return, let's see, HEB, some plastic clay pots, and a cell phone. That was a cell phone that was delivered to the door, and then somebody stole it. Had the Little League, had a couple officers over there. David and I was at the police chief's conference in Fort Worth. I don't remember, told you we had a bomb threat while we were there. It was pretty wild. Did I tell you about the bomb threat? Yeah, bomb threat. We had Officer Lopez got in a hostage negotiator school. He was actually on the San Antonio News. You can catch him in the back there. They had a free one they offered. Worked out real well. Department meeting. We were there with the mayor at the Children's Alliance South Texas, had a presentation from Fantastic Sam on a fundraiser they did. Went out to the park for something with Camino Real, their early childhood. 420, we got Roger hired on as our full-time, one of our full-time openings. Escort, David did another week at the police chief. It's 420 and 420. It's actually a week there. Leadership class he's taken in Bernie, which is one of the classes, our 3-week class that our job description is one of them that's a course that's kind of required for supervisory people. And escort, fire marshal stuff. So we did, we worked with Willie, several site visits down there to figure out what was going on. And we have Willie's Auto Value. And I believe he's up and running now. And if you're not familiar, there's actually a metal building in the back, separate from the building caught on fire. And it's actually a pretty nice metal building. So he's actually back there now and is going to be doing something. We did a site visit at new truck stop. Some tanks and stuff started showing up over there, the DEF tank. And talking to the guy, it's hard to get stuff. And so they were going to charge him $2,000 a month to store the tank at the yard, the vendor. So they brought some stuff over there. So that project seems to be moving pretty quick. That's the big truck stop, 3175 and 35. Quick Serve Auto, we did a little site visit down there. They're adding a small storage shed. HEBC store with site visits over there as they're trying to get their kitchen up and running. Burn permit. Proposed coffee shop, that was a site visit up here by the funeral home. So that we met with him, with Colin, and worked on that a little bit, make sure we're on the same page. Charged 8 subjects with 9 misdemeanors in county attorney's office, 2 felonies with 2 charges. Didn't file anything at Medina or Bear. Had 100 hours overtime. This again, now we've got Roger, so that should significantly go down. Total hours, 20 hours administrative from our volunteer, reserve officer hours. We had 2 openings. We're still trying to fill the second opening. We actually interviewed one of the applicants we already thought we had an applicant that kind of didn't, fell through. So now we've interviewed another guy today. It was in the school. So we'll know more, by the first of the week or the end of the week on which way we're going to go on that. Once I talk to some of the guys a little more and discuss a few things and look at our options. And main complaint I get, which is pretty much daily, either email or in person or phone calls, is traffic related. That's really all I get is traffic related complaints about speeders, increased traffic volume. It's kind of odd, you almost, other than the olden days, people would call and report a house that somebody was selling drugs at or something, and now it's almost exclusively involves traffic, which is good, I guess, in some ways, but it's still interesting how that worked out for us. Any questions?
Updates, Richie, so it might have happened in May, but can we let the council know about the cell phone, the gentleman that went into the cell phone store, didn't he take a
Well, that happened May 1st on Monday.
Yeah, so can you let the council know, even though it'll be in your next report?
Yeah, so we had an aggravated robbery, which is relatively uncommon for us. We did have one in Bear County with the police impersonators that we actually made a case on and arrest, and have numerous cases in Bear County, which, Bear County, I won't make a determination what's gonna happen. But, so guy, young male, spends a couple hours down there in that Exxon shopping strip.
Just loitering.
Bordering, just hanging out. And, nobody calls us. He comes in, he hangs out 2 hours in the cell phone shop. We think he goes next door. He steals a pocket knife from the resale shop. Gets his confidence up and, pulls a knife out of the clerk. Gets a couple of cell phones, which are not going to be, which are going to be electronically disabled. And then takes 140 out of the register. Didn't take all the money out, he doesn't want to leave them without change, I guess, so it's hard to get change. So, and then he left in a vehicle. Well, originally we thought he was on foot, so I called Matt and said, hey, the guy may be headed to City Hall, so we alert everybody down here. But Matt came down there, helped us with next door, got some video. He was in a vehicle that was involved in taking a carjacking in San Antonio the day before by 3 people. So the vehicle, as of last we knew, was still stolen out of San Antonio. Not really, no ties here. I'm sure he was just passing through.
He went south and then turned towards Railroad Street on Bank. We're not sure if it was because of traffic or
traffic
trying to get to Railroad. I can't tell you everybody down there that saw him loitering said he looked weird and made him a little nervous, but no one ever called the police on him.
One simple call would have eliminated that. Not only that, was the vehicle was stolen. If we ran it off, we would have run a place. We would have, known that. So we had, it's been relatively quiet. But, I can think back 10, 12 years ago when we had the Sonic Kids robbed at gunpoint. They cleaned the AutoZone out of the clerks. Remember that at gunpoint? So Pico's robbed at gunpoint. And so we've had a real nice dry spell. So this here could have been prevented. But anyway, luckily no one was hurt. He was actually real nice and, apologized and what have you. So, you don't know what, here's the issue. All these people, there's so much going on with mental health issues. You don't know what's going on with these people, A lot of people are doing things, they do things out of character. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to sit down and talk to the guy and figure out exactly what was going on because it didn't make sense.
Anything else, council?
I saw you Saturday at the community center. How are things going at the community center?
As far as like the security wise deal?
The parties and-
Oh, so we do the patrol buys on the ones that don't have alcohol, and we haven't had any issues as of yet. And the guys do a service call. So we haven't had any issues really. We haven't had any issues with the actual events themselves.
Community center keeping busy?
Since we've opened it up, yes, sir. In the month of May, we only have one opening one weekend. And that's Mother's Day weekend. That's probably why they get rented. It's rented all day. I heard someone in today renting it. So it's doing what it's supposed to do.
No complaints on anything we've had. I mean, everything seems to, the guys that are doing the patrol, man.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Richie.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to item number 8, executive session, call persistent to Texas Government Code Chapter 551, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultations with attorney, and 551.074, personal matters to discuss and consider the following items. A, update and reporting of pending city litigation. B, report and discussion regarding personnel matters in the Public Works Department, and C, discussing regarding J, Campa personnel property matters. So we have some stuff to talk about, right, Jesse? Okay.
Point of order real quick, Mayor. Are we going into closed session on public works for one employee or for several employees?
Several employees.
If we're talking about a class of employees in public works who cannot meet in closed session, it would be in violation of the Open Meetings Act.
It's regarding a personnel matter and involved one or more employees. So it's not a full class of employees, it's a certain specific personnel matters involved in the department.
So it's one employee.
No, it's a group of employees, but it's not an entire class of employees.
So you can go ahead and show us, Paula, going into executive session. It's 8:46. Okay. And council, if you can go ahead and look through that for me, I appreciate that. Thank you. we have,
Oh, look around.
all right, Paula, if you can go ahead and show us, it's exactly 9:00. So it shows at 9:00, coming back from executive session, no action taken for all three items. No action taken for all three items. Also, please show on there that Councilman Charles Kate actually stepped out during the executive session. Okay. All right. Is he still here or? Okay.
We didn't see him.
Okay. Well, if he comes back, let's annotate on the record that he's back for the information. If he's not, then let's annotate that he's gone. Okay, I appreciate that. All right, informational items. Here we go. Let's go ahead and start over here. Mike, anything? Paula, anything you want to go ahead and share? Nothing? See if we can think of something. Annette?
The only thing I've got is Ashley left, or court clerk left last week. She did test, but we will not have the results for another 10 days, I say. She's iffy, so I'm gonna be honest with you. She keeps telling Matt and I, but she just doesn't know.
Hey.
We just told her,
You know, fingers crossed.
we told her, you know, at least she knows what the date is to crush better if to take it again. So,
Okay, positive vibes.
Yeah.
We hope for the best. She's pretty smart. She's smart cookie. That's that. Annette?
But the only thing I need to report on it, and we forgot it in Santi, is that we're gonna re-advertise for his open position. We got one application the last time and it didn't work out for it, so we're gonna re-advertise, we're gonna create a whole flyer. Santi and I worked on one that's more kind of like what you saw in the PD with how much vacation, all, you know, and try to maybe entice someone, we'll see.
This is part-time, right?
No, this is a full-time.
Full-time, okay, full-time, okay. Full-time position. Will be good. Okay. Anything else? Richie?
No, sir.
Nothing at all? There we go, James?
I think we found out last week that our 3-inch water line on the other side of the access road run out the Light Cattle Company is in the bottom of that bar ditch, gonna have about 2 inches of cover.
You found it down there?
They found it.
Okay. Is it okay? Is the line okay, or?
Yeah, it's okay. It's just, man, if we ever have a surge, it may come out of the ground.
Okay.
Do you want to report on the gas report, James, from Railroad Commission?
But yeah, no, you go ahead. I mean, that's.
So we got a report from the Railroad Commission, they did their annual survey of our gas system that CPS runs, and there were no deficiencies found, so we're 100%
Nice.
in compliance there.
There you go. That's good news. That's good news. Always good news. To deal with something like that, definitely. All right, how about over here? Anything we need to share? No? Richard? Anything, sir? Yeah?
When do we get paid? No, just,
We all get in line, right?
just getting ready to be up there with y'all guys and just be nice with me. Take it slow.
Be good. Be good. Just keep the community in mind, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Xander, anything else? Anything? Nothing? Okay, congrats again for the voluntone position. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Santi?
No, what I didn't say on the report, I have an appointment tomorrow at Lado Vet to take minimum 10 animals to be euthanized tomorrow.
Those are tough calls. I know you guys tried everything, right?
Yes, definitely.
You tried everything possible to try to do that. So I know those are the tough calls you gotta make, but I appreciate everything that you're trying to do and making sure we weigh all options before we have to take those steps. So just work with Matt and see, once again, we're here available to send stuff out, do whatever we can to be able to help you get those numbers down, okay? We'll be able to do that. Jesse?
Other issues.
Okay, Joseph, here we go. Nothing? Okay. Okay. Nothing know.
Would you like me to talk about the event on Saturday?
Yeah,
Do you have
yeah.
notes on it?
No, go for it, go for it.
We had our Keep Lotto Beautiful semi-annual cleanup this past weekend. I don't know the number. Do you know how many people actually came out and volunteered to walk? I was at school, so I didn't know the number. I
What
heard,
did you think? Maybe about 10 to 12?
Yeah, probably, that's what I was
I
thinking.
heard it was more than we usually have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were open from 9 to 12. We pretty much filled the dumpster here. And we had 2 dumpsters that were 3/4 full at the school. One had nothing in it. But if you remember, we had the quarterly bulk pickup just the weekend before. We were aware of that. And we were hoping that maybe people didn't get their stuff out for the bulk, so they'd come and dispose of it. But some of the people who came out were really, really thrilled that we were there and they could get rid of some of the stuff. So I think it went well, and we'll do another one in October.
I think it went very well. And we actually had, man, you were there when they stopped by, and Michael stopped by, and we had people from outside the city limits, and they were asking about what are we doing, they want to help and volunteer. So, yeah, so people just seeing us out there, and we had Daryl the Barrel, I guess that's his official name, right?
Yes.
And Denise did a great job out of Lido State Bank out there representing state highways, and I mean, it worked out really good. So I appreciate the folks. Michael, thank you for being out there.
Hey, Mayor, the front end loading tank, or what's that, Lido Loading Exchange?
That is from Hector.
Yeah, it was great. You know, he came out, up with a couple of things that were along the city streets. So kudos out to them.
Yeah, he actually, we told him about some stuff that was put out after bulk was supposed to have been put out, but people brought it out late, and he actually went out there and picked it up and brought it in, and we put it in the dumpster. So it's no longer along Main Street. He did a great job helping us out. So it worked out really good. I think we really compact that one. I think it could have been 2, right?
Yeah,
We could have gone the other
surprising
dumpster,
how much.
but he compacted it so good, we were able to take care of it. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right, here we go. Going along with the theme with a special thanks, I want to say thanks, Richie, for you guys with the PD and testing our sirens. So I think this is number 3 in a row, our sirens are all working.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good, and that's with a month that we had a storm and we didn't actually sound them off. So this is good. People are getting used to them. People look for them, and that's good as we get into some of these months coming up. Reminder, don't forget on the 15th of May, next Monday, we got the budget workshop. Okay? So you guys are invited if you want to come. Richard, you can be here. We're going to be making some decisions. So, so that would be.
We'll make decisions, but we'll be hearing a lot.
Yeah, we'll be making decisions in the future, but it would be good for you to get familiarized with what's going on in the workshop. So it'll be good.
And what was my day that I needed to be there?
22nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Right, 22nd. So the 22nd, yep. And we'll have the other council member here, and they'll be part of the, we'll do the canvassing first.
There's no, there'll be a resolution. to go ahead.
Resolution,
Go ahead and adopt.
So resolution portion of it, and then we'll go ahead and do the turnover. So how many years? 18 years. So 2 years, took care of it. Okay, perfect. That's all good.
More than enough.
That's good. So that works out really good. We'll be able to highlight you a little bit more. That'll be good, both of you. That'll be good. All right, so just put it down, make sure on the 15th you're here for that. I'll give our department heads the opportunity to go ahead and do that. May the 18th, I want to let folks know the school's having their school projects. So if your evening is open, 5 to 7, swing by over at the high school. They're supposed to be having at the gym lots of different projects and opportunity to be there and support our students. They've been working hard on some of these.
Yeah, every year.
Every year, yep. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to go ahead and do that. Our auction is going to be on June
3rd.
June the 3rd. So pass the word around, okay?
We'll start blasting it out with photos of things in the auction, work with chief, and
This is the option where we're gonna have the vehicles. Yeah,
Vehicle, yeah.
we're gonna have vehicles and a few other items that are gonna be available, so let folks know. A great opportunity for those, and it's money that we get, to be able to get in return. We're gonna do it just like we did in the
Yeah,
PD.
I
I think it worked okay with the guided area with the kids and
Keep
everything.
people out, we keep a cashier inside at the end.
That worked out really good last time, so it worked out. James had to watch out for the birds, right? Flying around for that. Okay, TxDOT update. Frontage roads are moving faster now, and they're doing better. I'm just worried a little bit now. We're gonna start getting some rain, it might slow down. I do wanna let you know that the frontage road in front of Bill Miller's, that they're working on the other side so they can flip it, but at a certain point, they still haven't told us yet, but at a certain point from the trailers north, coming towards HEB, they are gonna turn it into a two-way road. They're gonna have to keep the bottom still one way, so you won't be able to turn off of Benton City to come up, but at the trailers, you're gonna be able to come up. So that does help relieve some of the pressure, people be able to get in and get out. So they're gonna tell us when that happens, but that's a good thing that they're gonna go ahead and take it.
problem going to the home park?
Well, that's where the people coming from the trailer park. You know, the going down, you're still gonna go straight all the way down. So the intersection is still gonna be one, but at least you can go back and forth from the Napa and the Western Store and Bill Miller's. They should be pouring concrete hopefully later this week. They closed one down on the driveway for Bill Miller's, so do the opposite. And we still have a few more weeks before they start working on the ramp, the on-ramp, the southbound on-ramp, and they'll let us know too. So we got a little bit of movement here in the next month, but it's really good. I think they were saying probably June, is that correct? They're saying that they might be able to take care of the majority of the road work and just little side projects after that. So stay tuned with that. I do want to let everybody know, I know I mentioned it, Sam gave me a call about the project that just popped up right before the meeting south of here. I guess TxDOT has a rapid response team, and what they do is they go out and work on certain sections, and they work for one day. So Chris from the TxDOT pretty much said that what they did today is done today. They won't be back tomorrow. They're going to be working up at Highway 90. I did ask them to let us know when they have projects around here, so we have an idea. So she's going to send us a list of anything that we have. The problem is the contractor is given in the next 30 days do this, and they don't know where the contractor is going to show up. But at least we have an idea. Okay, so that's what happens then. From that one.
I'm sorry, but like those workers there, they need to add on a couple of flag people or something, because I'm coming in onto traffic in the middle. So when I was coming this way, from far away, it looked like the level guy that was leveling off the gravel was coming from the opposite side. But no, I got closer to him, he was coming right
at you.
And the other side was getting ready to move this way. So, I mean, I'm just saying that
Good point.
there could have been an accident.
Yeah.
Some issues when you're entering right in the middle of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, he could have, or have
Or just have somebody.
a flag guy in front of him, you know.
Because you got from your home,
Yeah.
from your place all the way to the creek, you got people that could actually turn in, right?
Yeah.
There was one guy at the road crossing, he was just standing there.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
flag.
But we'll definitely pay close attention to that, and we'll talk to the folks at TxDOT and Hondo. So, but good point.
Could be a big
Yeah.
accident.
Yep. But does it look better?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see it being done. I walked out, I drove out, and I was like, why did they do that?
Yeah, apparently they're fast. I mean, they come in and take care of business and walk out.
Let's hope it
And I was like, why don't you do it at night, right? Why don't you do it at night when it's less
Yeah.
traffic? But they said now they have to do it in the daytime.
It started in the evening because we went to San Antonio and came back.
Yeah. Yep. So, no, we did it. But just to give you a heads up on that and kind of stay tuned with the frontage room. You know, want to make sure we're here for next week, but you know, Sam and Joseph, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. Tremendous help, helping us out and just making sure that we take care of our community. So really appreciate today's their last full meeting, so thank you so much for everything. But we'll have some more words to go ahead and say. We got track going to state this week. They'll be leaving at 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday out of here. They're coming from the schools and through here. So you want to join us, 9:30. Our baseball team is doing just, I mean, unbelievable. I mean, these are freshmen and sophomores, and they're going up for area now. And they'll be leaving on Thursday at 1 p.m. through here. They're doing just, it's unbelievable. You see them, they're just having a good old time, right? Not worried, not anything. I mean, they're doing really, really good. The unfortunate thing is that we did our girls softball team, really, really good team, lost to last year's state winner by one run. So you know, it was hard. It was hard. There was some errors, but there was some help from, I won't say because I'll get in trouble. I'll just say that my favorite color is not blue anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, they were really good, and they deserve a lot of credit and what they were able to do this year. Just unbelievable, unbelievable. They did really, really good. Everybody, honestly, everybody thought that it was going to be 20 runs scored on them, right? They really thought they were just going to get blasted. And the girls did a great job, so kudos to them. If you haven't heard, we actually did lose another valuable member in our community. Ann Van Winkle, passed away. Great lady, just unbelievable person. Always helping, always volunteering, doing a lot of stuff in the church, and always interested in what was going on. She would call me up and ask some questions. Just wondering, are we going the right direction? What's going on over here? She was always intrigued to find out.
Served on the library board.
She was part of your library board.
She was actually, library board president, treasurer, and something else in years.
So we definitely, there's another point. Thank you for saying that. She's a great lady. I mean, two great kids, Linda and Dawn. As we get more information, we'll pass it on, but please keep the family in your prayers. This was out of the blue. I know she had some age on her, but I mean, just a few months ago before she went in for that procedure, I mean, she was just herself, bubbly and making jokes and doing everything. Prayers. Also want to add prayers for Yolanda Garcia too. Going through a difficult portion right now with medical, so please keep her in mind. And to another great person, family that actually made a difference in us. So keep the family in prayers and give her strength. That's what she needs right now. Reminder: don't forget Mother's Day weekend coming up. So if you haven't done anything, I know AD is looking at me right now. I couldn't see it right now. So a little reminder about that. Making sure we take care of Mama. Especially coming up. Yeah, I know we have the time. And the last thing is, if you have not had a chance, please, whether it's for Mother's Day or anything, please visit our stores. We need to help our shops with Lidl. They had pretty good things doing for Mother's Day, but they have some other sales. Go out there and support them. The antique shop too. They got some pretty neat stuff over there. Just pay a little bit extra time in some of our storefronts that we have, especially of the small businesses, that we can help them out. So take a look before you go into San Antonio. Stop by and visit them. You might find what you're actually looking for and be able to buy it from somebody that is here locally. Make a difference for them.
You ever gonna do anything with the bills?
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for them. They still say they're moving on. We should have something, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. That's what we're waiting for.
Stripes,
Stripes. Richie?
I don't have one other than the last you gave out. That other one out there on the interstate may be done before them.
Yeah, so that one is still, they're saying the end of May. I haven't seen anything otherwise, but it looks like everything is done, but I know it's with a contractor and they have to figure that out. The HEB should be here pretty soon. We were reaching out to the state. We finally got a hold of somebody in the state for the health inspection, even though they already have. I found out that they're okay because they were tied to the other area. through a different contractor. But anyways, that should be opening up here pretty soon. So they're gonna have kind of like a Texas tacos, something grill that is gonna be there. So they should have a soft opening here within the next couple of weeks, and then the regular opening. It might come really fast. I think we've done everything that we needed to do with the city, right? Everything's done.
Laredo scared them?
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
No, we haven't done any, I mean, the only thing they're waiting on is the cooking equipment, the hood and everything, and so it seems to be, now I haven't gone there this week, or the end of last week, but it's all pre-packaged stuff, it's not anything, it's just a matter of getting it in there.
And I think it's only a selected few so far, convenience stores that have gotten this in the state of
I think
Texas.
it's only the second one right now.
Yeah. So very unique. I think, just like you said, Rick, I think it's a way to look at the one across. But as soon as that one was coming, all of a sudden I heard the pumps were getting done and the interior was getting done. So, but AGB has actually been thinking about doing this for a while. So, but the timing is right, and honestly, I think they're going to get it done before maybe Stripes opens.
Because in San Antonio, Laredo's do good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was that?
Have you put their digital?
Yeah, they got the big screen. So they've had maybe one or two hiccups with them so far, but so far it's been working out really good. Okay, anything else? Any last minute info you need to share? Okay. Can I get a motion for us to go ahead and adjourn? It's 9:21.
I make a motion that we adjourn at 9:21.
Okay, got a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. Great.